Heather here from Thistle Creative Reuse. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a no-sew reusable t-shirt bag. You are going to need these two items, a t-shirt that you'd like to repurpose and a pair of scissors. You can have the option of using also a ruler and a marker if you are more of an accurate type of person, or if it will help you see what you're doing better. These are some great tools that you can also use. I will show you how to use them in the video, but you don't necessarily need to use them at all. So the great thing about this project is that it will help reduce the amount of garments that enter the waste stream, as well as reducing the amount of one-time use plastics that you would use at the grocery store, like the grocery sacks. This shirt here is from Redbud, the Redbud Festival, and I'm going to be showing you how to turn this shirt into a reusable t-shirt bag today. It's really only 5 steps. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to fold this shirt in half, right? And we want to line everything up. If you want to be super exact, you could iron your shirt, but I don't think it's necessary. We just want everything to be somewhat lined up. This is going to reduce the amount of cuts that you have to make because the cuts we're making are symmetrical. And when you fold the shirt in half, everything is symmetrical because they're the same on both sides. So our first step we're going to be doing is we are going to cut our shirt sleeves off, which is going to make the handle of our bag. And it will make it look like a tank top. So we're going to mark where we want to cut. You don't have to mark. I'm just showing you what I'm going to cut. I think it makes it easier on the video to see what I'm doing. All right, so then I'm going to just cut this out and just keep cutting. All right, so step one is done. Now you can save these for a later craft. You can turn them into headbands, you can turn it into t-shirt yarn, but try to upcycle or reuse as much of these materials as you can to help prevent them from entering the waste stream. All right, so that was step 1. We're on to step 2. We are going to be making the opening. We're going to be making the opening of our bag. So this will act as our handle, and now we need to make the opening. Now you get to choose how deep or how shallow you want this to be. I want to be able to see the part of this shirt here as part of our bag, kind of like as the decoration of the bag. And we want this to be kind of like a half, like a semicircle. But the good thing is that you get to choose these options on your own, like how far down you want the handle to go, how wide you want the neck to be of the bag, the opening of the bag. And now we're just going to cut it out. All right. So we just finished step 2. Now we are going to place it this direction. Now, here is where you get to choose how deep, right? How deep you want your bag to be. I actually want this to be a shorter bag, so I'm going to first trim off some of my extra material. You do not have to do this, but this is a larger shirt, so it will be a really long bag. I wanted to make it a little bit shorter, so I'm going to trim off a little bit of my material. You could eyeball this if you want. You could just cut your fringes and then trim your fringe later, your strips. But I want to go ahead and cut this and make it a little bit smaller. So I cut my line. I'm going to cut it. You don't have to do this step, but I want this to be a smaller tote bag. All right, so now what we want to do is we are going to cut our strips. Each square on my mat equals 1 inch, or you can use a ruler. You can choose how high up you want your fringe to go. I want it to go, your strips I should say. I don't know why I keep calling them fringe, but they could be fringe if you do it the other way. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. Let's see. I think we will take it up 4 inches. So if you want, you could also mark it. Right, and that's where we're going to take our strips to. So you're going to want to do these about 1/2 inch strips. And you're going to go up to your line. You can go a little past, and that will definitely help hide our marker line. You do not have to mark it with marker. I marked it with marker so it'd be easier for you to see. But if you feel like marking it will help you keep it even and straight, then go ahead and mark it. One thing that I really like about these bags is it's completely upcycling, which is taking an item that has one purpose and using it for a completely different purpose once it's kind of extended its original life form. There's a ton of garment waste that is happening, and on top of it, if we think of plastic as well. And so really finding ways to reuse our garments to limit garment waste and plastic waste is something that we definitely really need to be considerate about and thinking about. So this is a great way to help with that, to help reduce that. All right, so we have all of our strips are cut. I do need to, no, we're good. Okay, so what we're going to do is, here you have 2 options. So the option is, if we want to see this fringe, we would not turn this shirt inside out. Let me show you on a different shirt. So here's one that I made using one of my old UNT shirts that I bought at, I believe I bought it at Wortman's. And I have the fringe tucked on the inside. But if you want to see it like this, as kind of like decoration, then you would not turn your shirt inside out. So I'm going to leave this one right side out. If you don't want to see it, you need to turn your shirt inside out, right? So I didn't want to see it on this shirt. So when I tied my knots, I did the shirt inside out so that those knots are hidden inside the bag, right? You get to make that choice. All right, so this was a larger shirt, so it has a lot of fringe strips to tie. So basically we're just going to tie some regular knots. This needs to be cut because I had it folded in half. So if you have one really long one at the end, you need to trim it. So we're just going to go down this line and we're going to tie off our knots. You do not have to worry about double knotting. We will go back down the row again. And once I get there, I will show you. So I want you to go ahead and tie off all your ends. It's going to take you a little bit of time, so I may fast forward this video and speed it up. And if you'd like to, you can pause the video or just follow along with me. So you just want to make sure that you are getting them all and not skipping or missing. I like to push them over once I know that I've done them. So those match. All right, so we did our first row. Now we're going to go back and tie our knots going again the other direction. So if we were to just let this be how it is, we would have some gapping and some holes in here. So what we're going to do is we need to do like a second row of knotting. So we want to get this all facing the right direction. All right, so what we're going to do is we want to kind of lock those knots in place and take care of any gapping that might be here. So what we're going to do is we are going to take one piece from this one section and we're going to find our second section and we're going to tie these together. And you can alternate from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, and we're going to do it all the way across. So what I'm going to do is we are going to tie this. But before you pull this through, see I have it looped one time, we're going to go ahead and tuck this through a second time. This creates a nice locked stitch. It's called a sergeant stitch. It's kind of like what they do when they start stitches. So it just locks that in its place. And then now you're just going to do that all the way across. You're going to find one from this one here, and you're going to find one from the next section, and you're just going to tie it all the way across. If one of them gets stuck in there, you can just pull it out. All right. And again, if you need to push these out of the way, feel free to push them out of the way to help you make sure that you are keeping it organized and neat. So just keep on doing this till you get to the end. Just a few more. All right, we're down to the last little guy. All right, you have this great bag made out of a repurposed shirt. And we can't wait to see your repurposed no-sew t-shirt bags around town. Happy making!